All right, welcome back to the podcast. Cheers to you. It's beer 30 somewhere, so we're jumping into this one. This one is basically answering all your questions. So, if our patrons, channel members, and the Sailing Doodles Navy, there's all links for that down below if you want to join. Once a week or so, I answer all their questions. So, I make a post on there, they ask whatever they want, and then I'll answer it on a video. So, if you'd like your question answered, please join one of those platforms and we'll answer it in the next one. I basically take all the questions from the last post and then I put them in ChatGPT. It organizes them. I've reviewed a few of them, but not many. And then, so we'll do it. All right, we'll start off with number one here from Rob. Did you ever come close to quitting Sailing Doodles? And how long until it paid the bills? Yeah, I mean, I almost did quit Sailing Doodles. I remember it was season one. So I was sailing solo from the Bahamas to the DR and then down to Puerto Rico. But basically, I didn't get off the boat for like 6 or 7 days. It was a lot, right? And I had the two big dogs, and it was just a lot to deal with being solo. And I wasn't sleeping much during that time because of sailing solo. And then money just wasn't really rolling in. You know what I mean? It's not like whatever. I mean, I was losing money every month. I was worried that I wasn't going to have enough money to keep going. That would have been somewhere around maybe January or February of 2017. I didn't start making enough on YouTube to pay the bills to break even until probably, March or April. And so January, I was just a little burned out. It was a lot of work and it wasn't much return, and I wasn't sure I wanted to continue doing it. And because I was solo for a couple weeks there. It was like Megan took a month off the boat or so before she came back, and so yeah, I mean, I'm glad I didn't. I was very close to doing it. I was debating. I had even made up my mind halfway through that sail that I was going to, but by the time I got there, I kind of was able to chill out and relax a little bit, and I reconsidered. So yeah, and so like the second part of the question, how long it take to pay the bills? Yeah, I mean, it was 8 or 9 months before I was earning enough, making YouTube videos every week. And I can't remember when I started making two a week, but I took it as a business right from the get go, and took it pretty serious. And I think that's a big difference between a lot of YouTubers, and they expect that they'll start making videos, and within a month or two, they've made 8 videos and they think, okay, I should be earning enough to live on. No, no. It took me 9 months, 8 months before I was making 2,000, maybe 2,500 a month. We were still living on rice and beans and all that. So yeah, it took a while. All right, Tyrone, if you took a full month off of YouTube, would the audience stick around? I don't know. I don't like, so for right now, if I want to take time off, what I try to do is I work really hard for a few extra weeks, and then I can take time off. So I haven't been sailing for now for a couple weeks, but I still have footage from the last month. So so I just finished editing yesterday a video that'll be out in about a week. And so what I would like to do is going to go film in Greece in about 2 weeks. And so I would like to get a week ahead, 2 weeks ahead, so that I don't have to edit when I'm in Greece. I can just film and live in the moment and do all that and not work that week. I can kind of take a week off. Still going to film. And we have a special collaboration with that. There's another YouTuber in the sailing world that'll be sailing with me. I think it might break the internet. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So be sure you check out Sailing Doodles in a few weeks. It'll be fun. But yeah, the audience, I don't know. I really don't know. It's not something I'm really willing to risk. I just wouldn't do it. This is my profession. This is my job. I treat it as such. I don't miss videos. Very rarely, once or twice a year, I will miss a video, one video. I will never miss more than one. And it's just too busy, too much going on to edit. So, all right, Wayne, now that you have the Navy Doodles off YouTube, so on Podia, I have, the channel membership type thing. Why not show more uncensored content? We do some. You're not going to really see nudity on there. That's just something I've never done, and it's just. But we in uncensored, like I'm not bleeping out words, and stuff that doesn't make it into the video gets on there. And sometimes there's just stuff that's not important that maybe viewers would like to see that I kind of left out of the video, or stuff that maybe it is a little embarrassing. We kind of did something stupid, and most times if I do something that stupid, I put it in the video because it's entertaining. But you do see some other stuff, and really, it's not it's just uncensored stuff. It's not really my bag, you know. So on to the next section will be sailing plans and lifestyle from Sean. What's the deal with the med off season? Can't you just move south or layer up? What exactly makes the med unsailable outside of summer? Well, it does get cold, you know. I mean, depending on where you are, by October it's getting a little chilly. You know, you can maybe make it a little further in a place like Spain or something, a little further south. But mostly, yeah, it's just cold. And then the weather gets unpredictable and gusty and all that, and it's not great sailing. Um, and you know, I mean, you a lot of there's ways around it, but you have the whole, you know, the Schengen stuff where you're only allowed 90 days out of 180. So people will spend the summer there and then they'll take the winter off to reset their visa or whatever and do that. It's just not. I mean, sailing in cold weather doesn't it doesn't do it for me. It's not something that interests me. And then yeah, you can head down to the south of the Med, but then you're in like Algeria, and I mean, I hear Tunisia is okay, but you're in Morocco and Cairo and or Egypt rather. I mean, like none of those are places you want to sail. So yeah, that's why. Tim, where will you spend the next winter, spring, and the Bahamas again? No, thank God. I'm so tired. I mean, I love the Bahamas; it's great, but the videos are getting boring in the Bahamas because I've done all that stuff so many times before. I've just, you know, this whole boat thing has really, you know, delayed me. So it was supposed to be a year before I got my new boat. It ended up being 2 years. It's like, okay, great, let's go. And then the boat crashed, and then, you know, whatever. So then now it's 3 years before I get my boat. So I feel like I've been treading water for the last 3 years waiting on a boat. And so I've just been filling the gap with videos that I can film. And, you know, it's just I'm sure it's not been great for you guys. I mean, the growth has slowed down. I mean, we're still doing okay. I'm not complaining, but like we're not doing anything extremely interesting. I'd like to do something more interesting and go to more interesting places that people want to see more of instead of just being in the Bahamas. Because like everybody starts in the Bahamas. There's a million Bahamas videos, and I'd like to go do something else. So where will I be this winter? We're about to go to, you know, I'm doing that team up in Greece, and then I plan to go to Thailand. So in the fall, I'm going to take my current boat, the CT56, in about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. August 20th, I'll be launching the boat again and going to go sail up the C&D Canal up to New York, Long Island Sound, Block Island, Martha's Vineyard, and then be back in Annapolis for the boat show, which is like second week of October. And then after that, I'll get the boat sold. I am debating selling the boat. So the CT56, I think it's worth about $200 or $200,000. So if you'd like to buy the boat, email me, bobby@sailingdoodles.com, and be happy to work on it. I thought about doing like a raffle on it or a sweepstakes on it, and I may do that. So but I need to get that kind of done soon. So if you would like to buy the boat, contact me soon because I probably otherwise will do a raffle. And then, so I'll do that until mid-October, and then I'll jump around in the RV for a bit. And then December or January, I will fly to Thailand to collect my new boat. Currently, I will either sail it around Thailand for a month and then sail it down to Singapore and then ship it to the Med, or maybe I sail it around Thailand and Indonesia for 3 or 4 months, and then ship it to the Med, or I don't know. Maybe then I sail it down to Thailand and Indonesia for a bit and then cross the Indian Ocean in it, through the Maldives and Seychelles, and then ship the boat from the Seychelles to the Med. I don't want to go through the Suez Canal. That has no interest on me. And in fact, that's what I'm leaning towards right now, is that way it's, instead of just doing Thailand to Singapore and then shipping it from there, I'm basically starting my circumnavigation in Thailand. So I can do Thailand to, you know, and hang out in Indonesia a little bit. That's going the opposite way a little bit, but then back up and across the Indian Ocean. And then that way I can just keep on going west through the Med, through the Caribbean, through the Pacific again. And when I end up in Thailand, it's a circumnavigation. So that's kind of what my plan is right now. Mad Mac, have you ever sailed around Aruba? What's the sailing like there? I never have. I don't know anything. I hear it's, pretty nice, but the problem is it's pretty far south in the Caribbean, and you want to stay away from Venezuela and most of the rest of South America. I hear Colombia's gotten a lot better. I hear Colombia's nice, but Venezuela you definitely want to stay away from, and I believe that's pretty close to Aruba. I don't know if I could be wrong on that, but I might swing down there at some point. We'll see. Christopher, any plans for Atlantic City? Any set plans for Atlantic City or Cape May? No, not really. But I plan on launching the boat August 20th. Uh, and then however long it takes me to get to Cape May and Atlantic City. I don't know, but probably within 2 weeks. I'd like to be, so maybe within 10 days, because I'd like to be up to Block Island for Labor Day, because it's a lot of fun up there for Labor Day. UGA Mikey, winter plan overall. Glamping Doodles has slowed since Amanda. Still fun. Just curious what's next. So I've been filming for Glamping Doodles. I'm in my RV right now. I had actually a lot more footage blocked for Glamping Doodles. I had it recorded with Amanda and all that stuff, but like the feedback on Glamping Doodles having the videos with Amanda in them was so negative that I just decided not to post those videos. I finished my the videos from Italy that we did, and then I don't know, they're just the people just there were so they number one, the videos weren't doing that great. And people were like, I'm not gonna watch anymore with Amanda on it, I just can't do it or whatever. And so I was like, all right, fine. I just didn't do that. I've got more Glamping Doodles video now, and I will be posting that somewhat soon. All right, on to new Catamaran questions. So if you don't know, I just did a podcast. Hole number 3 is going to be in Annapolis. So if you would like, I will be there for the Annapolis Boat Show. I believe it's October 9th or 6th through the 12th, something like that. I think it's the 6th or 9th through the 12th. So the Island Spirit hole number 3, it is a 6-cabin Island Spirit 525, all electric, really pretty boat. I did a video on it just a few days ago, and it is going to be in Annapolis, and I will be there to help you walk through it. So if you would, I mean, if you just want to see the boat and check it out, I don't think you'll need a reservation but if you really want to have an in-depth tour and talk to somebody about it, like if you're interested in buying it, click the link in the description and make an appointment to see the boat. Otherwise, you're just going to be kind of shuffled through with everybody, because I'm sure there's going to be a ton of people that want to see that boat. So click the link and make sure you tell them you saw it on Sailing Doodles, and then you can make an appointment to see the boat and do that. I know they already had like quite a few appointments made from the last video I did about it. So anyway, so Taka, what's the full propulsion setup of the new Cat? Are the motors AC or DC? Liquid cooled? How do you run forward and reverse with no transmission? Okay, so the motors are crap. I'm not sure. I think they're DC. I think they're DC. I think they're DC. I'm pretty sure they are. I could be wrong on that. You know what? I don't know. So I can't remember. I knew at one point, but it's been so long since I've done that. So they are liquid cooled though. So the motors are liquid cooled, and so are the batteries and everything, cooled and heated, right? So the batteries, if they're too cold, they're not efficient, so they heat them up. If they're too hot, they're not efficient, so they cool them down. So they're liquid cooled, and so is the motors, the generator, and all that stuff. And how do you run forward and reverse? Well, it's just an electric motor. You don't need a transmission. It spins this way, or you reverse the polarity and it spins the other way. I think it's DC. I could be wrong. I don't know, but I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure. I think it's DC. I think it's like pretty high voltage too. Like, I don't know. I'm not sure. Steve. So I'm sorry. I knew it at one point. See, this one thing, I didn't look it up beforehand. I probably should have looked it up. I think it's DC, but I could be wrong. Steve, will hole number 5 be the same as hole number 1? What changes have been made? What was the battery relocation for balance? Was the battery relocated for balance? Yes. So there are a few changes. It's a different generator. So originally they were using just a Chinese-made generator. So they had a motor, 110 horsepower motor. It's like Chinese, it's like a bus motor they use in China. I mean, there's like many thousands of them used in China. And it was economical and it was cheaper. But the problem is that the feedback they got from a lot of people was, okay, it's Chinese-made motor. I mean, like, how do I get maintenance done outside of Asia? So, I'm sure those motors are they're everywhere in Asia, but they're not in the rest of the world. So they switched them out with the Yanmar. So now it's 110 horsepower Yanmar connected to a generator. And Yanmar is, you can be worked on worldwide. They are one of the most popular marine engines out there. So yes, they did rebalance they took the batteries out of, they're too far aft. They moved them forward, so now it's much more balanced. Hole number 5 is considerably lighter than hole number 1. Just that they're production techniques have gotten better. They used a lot more fiberglass in hole number 1 than they did in hole number 5. I think it's several thousand pounds lighter just because of the material is much more efficiently used. Other than that, there's no real changes that I can think of. Schmoops, are you confident it'll be finished by December? I hope so. I've been told that many times, so I'm hoping it is. Although I may not even go to it until January, so it won't really affect me that much because if I went in December, I'd have to. I know I gotta come home for Christmas, so like if I went in December, I don't know. Maybe I could go in December for a few weeks to check it out, do all the sea trials and all that, get everything ready, have maybe somebody watch the pups while I do that. And then in January, when I'm ready to go back, I would bring the dogs with me over there. I've kind of been looking into it, getting the dogs over there. Probably my best bet is Singapore Airlines. I mean, I'm sorry, they're just going to have to go as checked luggage. That's just the way it is. But from like San Francisco to Singapore, I believe is something like 15 or 16 hours. Um, they've held it on the boat that long, so I think they'll be. It's in a air conditioned and pressurized. They have their own, the pet cabin on those boats, and they're small enough they'll be okay. And you got to do it at the right time of day. You got to catch the overnight flight so that when they get on the ramp, it's not hot in the morning. And I've already looked at flights, so it's not too bad there. So I would do Singapore Airlines, and then maybe spend a few days in Singapore, let them out, do whatever, and then fly to Thailand. So that's kind of what my plan is right now. Um, from Bill, did Island Spirit resolve the software issues that led to dumping of fuel overboard on the early outing? Yeah, that was just somebody programmed it wrong. That was not a so it's actually a pretty cool system. You can hit on the main controller for the whole boat. You can select what mode you're in. You're at anchor, you're sailing, you're motoring, you're in storage or whatever. And so like it, when you're at anchor, it turns on the anchor light. It turns off, the running lights. It turns, certain systems off that aren't needed, when you're at anchor. And then when you're, underway motoring, it turns on the running lights and all that stuff. So like, somebody just erroneously, probably a fat finger or something, had programmed the transfer pump to come on while at anchor. And so that was just yeah, it was fine. Jay, will the new sails be made from Precision Sails? Will you put Sailing Doodles logo on them? So it's the same. So it's my understanding they were able to salvage the sails off that boat. So the sails that were on that boat that was crashed, hole number 1, I believe it'll be the same sails. So there's no logo on the main because it's furling and that would cause problems. There is just a little logo. There's a miscommunication between myself and Precision Sails on that one. Like, they do have a B&G logo on there. I had wanted them to put on, a Sailing Doodles logo on the jib, but it wasn't there. But there is a logo on both the Code Zero and the asymmetrical spinnaker. So those sails are still there. If you'd like to get some Precision sails, then there's a link in the description. You can get a discount. Use my discount code. From Iden, will this catamaran also be a custom build like your first one? Yeah, I mean, yes. So mine will have 3 cabins plus an office. So that's the custom part on it. And then, I had them put in mast furling and all that stuff. So, all right, from Taka again, when is the replacement cat scheduled for delivery? December. All right, next section would be solo sailing and crew dynamics from Guy. Why single-hand at all if it's not an emergency? It's risky, and you've got offers like mine. I don't look into bikini, but I'm free. Yeah. Number one is just coordinating. Number one, I don't know for sure I'm going to be solo. I mean, like I didn't know I was going to be solo on this last season. It just kind of happened. Like the first time I did solo, it's because Mackenzie got sick and couldn't make it. The second time, we didn't get it wrong, so crew left. But I mean, like, trying to, find somebody, and then I did. I mean, it took me a few days, but then I called Jennifer, and she came back down, so she'll be in the next videos. But yeah, no, I'd rather. I mean, just for people I don't know and stuff like that on the videos. I try not to do too much of that. What makes good crew? Is from Patrick, and when is a boat too big to single hand? The single hand thing first. As long as the boat's set up well, I mean, like, the bigger the boat, the easier it is to drive most of the time. If you've got electric winches and all that stuff, I mean, like, you can single hand a 100-footer if it's got the right sail set up. I mean, like, yeah, if it's got big sails and all that, and you can't really do everything at once, that's a different story. Or if you wouldn't want to do a race boat, but like, you can. Um, so it's just how well the boat is set up. But I mean, really, for most people, I'd say like sailing mine single handed is not ideal. I can do it, but I'd say easily 45, 50 foot, you can single hand, no problem. Um, as long as the boat's set up right, with the winches running back to the cockpit and all that, where you don't have to run around, you can do all, especially if you got electric winches and all that stuff. So, and what makes good crew? Got to be able to live in a small space, you know, uncomfortable position conditions sometimes and all that stuff, and just be and in a good mood all the time. Don't be cranky and or not be good in the mornings or whatever, because nobody wants to be around you if you're cranky in the mornings, whatever. So stuff like that. Michael Dumont. Is it harder to recruit crew when you're single versus coupled up? Yeah, I think so actually. Like when we've done like so for instance, like when we brought Lauren on, Amanda reached out to her, right? So um if you have the a girl reaching out for other crew, I mean, like they have a girl contacting him like, hey, well, you want to be crew on our boat? It sounds a lot better than like, who's the creepy old guy asking me to be on his boat? You know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely easier coupled up for sure. And it's hard to find crew. So the next question there, how do you find this from Rod? How do you typically meet or line up your crew? Most of it's just been friends of a friend or coincidence. Like Amanda, I knew before I even started Sailing Doodles. She sailed with us in season one. Mackenzie, I met in Charleston, and then her sister. She invited her sister along. Who else? Like Jennifer, I met in Dallas 5 years ago. Stephanie, I met in a bar in Thailand. Megan was a friend of mine beforehand. Laura was a friend of a friend. I mean, I've met a few people through Instagram. I think it was who did I meet? Like Taylor, I met on Instagram, and Dakota. But like, most of it's just yeah, it's hard to find people that can up and leave, and just go because everybody's like, oh yeah, I'll come out for a weekend or a week, and I'm like, no, 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 like try a month or two. I need people. I don't want you to come out for a week. That does really no good for me because we need to have a crew dynamic and like be a part of the video. And like if I just had new girl every week, I'm sure that people would get real old of that. I mean, I already get enough crap. Apparently there's a Sailing Doodles Reddit. Like I don't even know. I was going through maybe it was this when I was kind of briefly looking at it. I don't know. Maybe it'll be in here. Um Somebody mentioned like there was somebody claiming to be a crew member that's on Reddit, and I looked it up and they weren't. But like um I briefly looked at it. I think there's like 2,000 members in the Reddit, and I'm like, but there was so much negativity in there. Like I'm just like, all right, I'm never logging on to this Reddit again because like number one, half the stuff they were saying was like not even true. And number two, it's just all negative and everybody's like Debbie Downer and just being like assholes basically. And like, I don't want to read, nobody wants to read about that stuff about themselves all the time. I mean, like in comments, so I do read comments on the videos, especially for the first day or two. And I try to reply to as many as I can. But after that, I stop reading the comments because I mean, generally first day, all the comments are good. It's the real fans that are watching and they're asking real legitimate questions, and I will reply to as many I can. But after that, it's just the trolls getting in there and the assholes. And plus, every time I post a video, I have to delete, 7 or 8, sometimes 10 comments that are spam bots. And it's just generally some hot chick picture saying, oh, we love your videos. It's so inspiring, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And they want somebody to reply to them or check out their handle and then pay them. They get whatever. It's a scam. So if you see a hot chick in the comments like going, oh my gosh, you're so great, it's fake probably. But I deleted it as soon as I post them. There'll be 10 of them immediate. That's how I know they're all bots, because they're immediately posted. And so like I go and delete them all. From Fluffy Steel. Okay, do you use a formal crew agreement or contract? I have sometimes I don't. What I have done in the past is like on camera, I'm like, hey, do I have your permission to film you for Sailing Doodles? And they'll say yes. I have had people write, sign video releases and stuff like that. I probably should do more of that. It used to be more of a problem I hear than it nowadays. I mean, I've only had one person uh like request, it was crap. She knew she was gonna be anyway. She she filed like a thing with YouTube or something saying that she didn't like allow. This was years and years ago, so I don't think it's recent or anything. Uh, she didn't. She never authorized. I'm like, yes, you did. Yes, you clearly did. I paid for your flights and everything. And like, anyway, but but what I can do now is on YouTube. It's real easy. I can go to a video and I can go to the edit page and it'll show pictures of everybody that's in the video, and then I can just select on that person's face and be like blur. So every time their face is in the video, it's blurred out, and then they're no longer in the video. So what I did on that same video is I blurred out all their, because I was helping promote their social media. I blurred out all their social media too. So like they were getting exposure on my channel, helping their own social media. So I just like, okay, if you're going to be that way about it, I will remove you from the video and all of your social media tags, and you will no longer get any kind of promotion from my videos. So anyway, John says, how will you accommodate crew with only 3 cabins on the new boat? Well, I'm only going to have a couple crew. You know, uh, Ideally, I'd like to get a girlfriend again, but I would imagine we would share a cabin. So that means 2 open cabins. And so I would at the most have 2 crew. I'd prefer to get like a couple, but I have 2 singles. That's fine. So there's your extra 2 cabins. So, yeah. And then realistically, like it would be really easy if I needed to convert my office into a bed. Basically, I just put a mattress over the desk and it's a bed. It wouldn't be very hard. I build like a little thing. It would be pretty easy to do. All right, flotillas and community meetups. Dave, will you bring back flotillas or Patreon meetups with the new cat? Yeah, I'd like to. The problem is like I used to do flotillas with Navigare. I reached out to them. It's kind of a hostile takeover by Group Beneteau. So Group Beneteau owns Lagoon. It owns Beneteau. Well, it's not Group Beneteau. It's like there's I'm allegedly, I'm not 100%. Look this up. Whatever. I'm not an expert. Don't quote me. There is I don't know. What do they call those? What do they call those? A financial investment group. An investment group. I don't remember what they call them. Anyway, so that investment group owns most of, if not all of, Lagoon, Group Beneteau. They also own Dream Yachts, and now they own all of Navigare. And there's been a lot of turnover at Navigare. They were kind of they were hurting them for money, and so then they got taken over. And so like I don't even know who my contact is at Navigare. I emailed them a couple times last week, and nobody responded. So yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with them going forward. I don't know. So that's why I haven't done that. I am working with a new charter company right now. We're going to be doing the deal with them in the Med. They're only in the Med though, so like maybe we could do maybe next summer or something like that. We can do a Med flotilla or something in the Caribbean or something. We'll see. I'd like to do that again, but that's why we haven't done one lately, is because trying to get that done is hard. And then patron meetups with the new cat. Yeah, for sure. We'll do some of those. We did a patron meetup. Where was that? I think we did in Florida. Pretty sure we did in Fort Lauderdale, or during the Miami Boat Show, or it was something like that. When was that? I think it was then. Anyway, so we still do a few of those a year. So if you'd like to become a patron or a channel member or join the Sailing Doodles Navy, you can do the next meetup if it's in your town. And then Michael says he's been a longtime viewer, finally a member. Thank you. Any flotilla updates? Okay, I just did that one. All right, boat systems and techs from Stanley Burr. What's up, man? He's been a long time follower. How much spare wiring do you keep on board? What gauges and where do you stash all that gear? Wiring. I mean, speaker wiring. I carry a lot of. I don't know. I got a spool of like a couple 100 feet, and then like actually I think it's 12 or 14 gauge, like a marine wiring, the dual wire. I probably have 30 feet of that, and then I have a bunch of like I have a couple spools of individual, red and black, 12 or 14 gauge. So, and where do I store all that? Most of my spares and all that are under the they're in the salon. under the seating area. So there's a lot of space under there, and then there's some cabinets back behind the two barrel chairs where I keep a lot of filters and oil and all that stuff. So that's where most of that stuff. What gauges? Like spare gauges, I got a spare hours gauge. I don't carry a whole lot of spare gauges, unless you're talking like working gauges, like multimeters and stuff like that. I mean, I have all those, but yeah. And where do you stash them? Okay, yeah. And then all my tools are up in the bow, and then all the spares are in the salon. William, feathering the prop, is it habit for your pilot days or standard practice? Does it make a big difference? I'd say most probably most boats don't have a feathering prop because those props are a lot more expensive. So there's two ways, and it really depends on your boat. I believe most boats these days just have you keep it in neutral, and the prop will just spin as you're going forward. That does cause some drag. There are some of the older boats and stuff like that. You just put because like on a catamaran, you have a sail drive. So there's a transmission that comes out of the back of the motor, and then it's got it's transmission that points it down, and it goes through the hull through an opening out down to the bottom, and then that outside has another transmission that turns it horizontal. And so those, I believe, just free spin the whole time. But you're not sitting there turning the motor and all that, or turning the transmission. Whereas like a shaft drive, you're that when that prop is spinning, I guess it is a propeller. That whole shaft and the transmission is turning the whole time. Some transmissions will tell you free spin it and let it spin. Some transmissions will tell you it's okay to put it in reverse. That just stops the spinning of it, so it's less noisy and less strain and less use of the transmission. But you're going to create a lot of drag that way. You're already going to have drag from it free spinning, but you're going to have more drag if you just have it not moving. But it depends on the engine. And you'd have to check your manufacturer's specification on what's better to do. Whereas mine will feather, so it creates a lot less drag, and then you don't have to sit there and listen to that prop shaft spin the whole time, which is nice. Does it make a difference? I don't know. I mean, like, I honestly don't know how much. Maybe half a knot, maybe. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. Like on my new Island Spirit 525. So, electric motors spin really slow, right? Like red line on my, I think, is like 1100 RPM, whereas red line on a diesel engine, depending on the size of it, is anywhere from 2700 to like 3100 RPM. But on an electric motor, it's like 1000 RPM. We're running on average cruise, on my Island Spirit, when I had the other one, we were doing 500 or 600 RPM was getting us like, 6 knots, right? So they spin a lot slower. So what I noticed there is like when we were sailing one time, the prop was spinning at 400 RPM. And, there was no power going to it. So what I did is I just matched the RPM. So I brought up the throttles until, 450 RPM. So it was putting a little bit of RPM into it. And then I backed off the throttles a little bit back to it was 400 RPM. So, it was only using like 2 amps to do that. It was just barely using any power to spin that. But it reduced the drag, and so we got an extra half knot out of it because now the propeller is not sitting there dragging on the water. It's actually spinning at the same rate as the water, so it's creating less drag. And for a couple amps to get an extra half knot out of it, absolutely. So I think it can be like as much as a half a knot by having the prop feather. All right. Oh, deeper stuff here. Reflection and philosophy from Jody. Knowing what you know now, what would you do differently on day one? Man. I wouldn't have wasted time building that dog ramp. That was kind of useless. I don't know. I wouldn't have stocked so much crap. That's the problem, is that there's so many things that especially when you're new to sailing, or new, like it's like Burning Man or whatever. You go somewhere for the first time, or you do something for the first time, you way overpack something, you way underpack something. So like, I I just didn't bring enough of the right things and brought too much of the wrong things. So stuff like that, I probably I wouldn't have changed much. Um, wouldn't change much. I don't know. Wouldn't change a whole lot. I would maybe on the business side of things, um, maybe I don't know if I could have though. I mean, like, 'cause my editing skills were not great to start, and so like I don't know if I could have done 2 videos a week to start, but like I don't know, maybe I don't know. I took it pretty serious from the beginning as a business, and so I don't think there's much more I could have done. I really don't know. I think it. I mean, whatever. It worked out, so I'm pretty happy about it. All right, Robert, how has sailing and content creation changed since you began? Um, well, content creation, there's just a lot more competition. You know, I don't know how many sailing blogs there are now. There's got to be 1,000. When I started, there were a couple dozen. So it's a lot harder to get noticed these days. Uh, so content creation, you know, with shorts and TikToks and all that, that has kind of hurt our market. I mean, I don't know specifically how many less views we're getting due to that, but I mean, like when we were like the heyday would have been 2020, 21. I mean, number one, it was COVID, so everybody was stuck, but that was really before TikToks and Reels became the dominant force. Even YouTube's pushing shorts, right? So people were watching more long form content. So the short form content has made a big difference. So the ad rates have come up since then, but like the views are maybe down because there's other options. I don't know. And then how has the sailing changed? It hasn't changed a whole lot. You're seeing younger people out there now because of, I think, these YouTube videos and all that. So people are getting more of a chance to see all that. So you're getting younger people out there because they've had the exposure to it. Plus, then, there's the ability with Starlink and all that to work remotely. So I think you're seeing a lot more people there. From Dan, who was your most surprisingly amazing crew? Oh man, I don't know. I mean, there's been so many good crew. I can't, I don't know. I mean, aside from girlfriends, like somebody who's asking who's my favorite crew. Is that your way of asking who's my favorite crew? I'm not going to answer that one. Definitely not girlfriend wise. I'm going to say, so I'm not following. I'm not going to hurt that. I'm not going to hurt anybody's feelings by saying something. So, all right, personal questions. Oh, here we go. Matt, if money were no object, what boat would you get? And who would you pick as your dream 3-person crew from past experience? I mean, money was no object. I mean, I might get I'm pretty close to getting the boat I want right now. I mean, for a while, I might have said, if you had asked me this last time, I would have said like an Oyster 80 or something like that. Now I'm thinking more like a Reef 60. I think I definitely want a Catamaran. I definitely want a cat. The last 4 months in a monohull has taught me that I want to be on a cat. It's just so much more comfortable in a lot of ways. They're not as cozy. The monohull is definitely more cozy. Like if I were just living in the Chesapeake, living on the boat or living on somewhere and I'm not doing a lot of open ocean passages or cruise, like sailing around too much and bigger seas, if you're just in the Chesapeake, then absolutely. Or if I was in the Med, the monohull would be pretty great. But if you're going to be in the Caribbean, island hopping and all that, a monohull, I would go with the cat. So I would probably say like a Sunreef 60. I mean, the Island Spirit 52 is pretty great, so I'm pretty happy with that. And who was I pick as my 3-person crew? I don't know. I mean, like, are we talking like from a personal perspective or like okay, let's do, oh man, what would get the most views? It would be Taylor Swift and I don't know, Justin Timberlake. I don't know, something like that. I mean, like, are you kidding me? Like, that would get 1 billion views. Or Mr. Beast and Taylor Swift. How about that? That video would go absolutely viral, crazy, and yeah. So I would do something like that. So, all right, Matt, another one. What is your favorite non-beer drink? Favorite non-American beer? Non-beer drink. Spindrift, sparkling water. I drink a lot of those. Like I'll drink 2 or 3 of those a day sometimes because they're 0 calories. They're made with real juice, or they're like 10 calories because they are real juice. They're not the synthetic stuff. This doesn't have artificial sweeteners and all that. It's Spindrift, so it's got like some of them have like 20 calories, but it's just carbonated water with a little bit of real juice flavoring, and I really like those, so I drink those a lot. Um, Non-American beer, uh, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really have one. So, as the new Miller Lite can, whatever. Another one from Matt. What traits do you value most in a romantic partner? Um, I don't know. Being adventuresome. I like it if you're a little bit sporty, can kind of hang out and do, you don't have to be all foo-foo and all that. Easygoing, I mean, as the main one. I'm obviously a boob guy. Um, and then, whatever. So easygoing, all that stuff. Because you got to be able to live in a small space. So, um, yeah, I think a big like pheromones and all that, like the smell of a person that you really like. I think that's important. Philip says, "What is your wildest or most favorite boating memory?" I think, man, geez, most favorite boating memory. I don't know. I mean, there's been so many good ones. I mean, going across the South Pacific and seeing some of those places there. I mean, like, being out in Vanuatu and having the natives come up to us, invite us to dinner. In Indonesia, at this little atoll, like 6 dudes coming up to our boat, like we're like thinking they're gonna be threatening, but all they wanted was to drink whiskey with us. And oh man, I don't know. It's hard to say. Nothing's really jumping out in the Caribbean to me. But stopping in the over the Puerto Rican Trench and swimming in the water. Doing the doing crossing the equator and doing the King Neptune and all that stuff. So all that stuff was pretty fun. So, all right, last question from Jamie. How much sunscreen do you go through? Do you always use the Reef Safe stuff? I try to use Sunbum, and I try to use their mineral stuff just because I don't know. Everybody's saying it causes cancer now, all that crap. Yeah, I try to use as much reef safe stuff as I can. I mean, I don't use a whole lot of sunscreen. I mean, I do, like, I put it on my face for sure, but stuff like that. But like, once you get a pretty good base tan, I mean, it really helps that you don't, you're not, because it's, I don't, if, yes, so, sun can make you age a little bit faster or whatever, but as long as you don't burn, it generally is less likely to cause cancer and all that stuff. So, but yeah, it is hot in here. It's like 95 degrees outside. And so the RV only keeps it about 20 degrees cooler, but there's so much heat coming in from this window. I should have put the shade down outside. But anyway, thank you guys for watching, or listening, whatever you're doing. If you want to, it's an audio podcast too, wherever you get your audio podcast. And if you'd like your questions answered in the next podcast, please consider joining the Sailing Doodles Navy or becoming a patron or a channel member. And you know what? I will answer your questions in the next podcast. But thank you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.